It is TexAgs Rewind. David Nuño and Billy Liucci. Hello, Luch.
What's up, Dave?
We were taught earlier how to put on the cream. So moving forward, when we put on facial cream, you go up.
Yes.
That's not something they teach men very often, do they?
No.
You've been doing it wrong?
Apparently so.
Yep, I did.
But it's all right.
Yeah, it's all right. I did it completely wrong. Since everybody who's watching this video is clamoring for glamour updates, so today the topic of the show was players that we got wrong. Maybe wrong or right. You know, somebody that you thought was going to be great that wasn't great, and vice versa. We both had a couple good answers for that one. But the big one here, 21 and 21, number 5, Jalen Wydermyer. They're brought to you by Factory Builder Stores.
Did I get this wrong or right with the pants? Z Cavarici.
It looks like you're with the guy from Cobra Kai. All right? You're okay.
That's my man. See his name down there, Mark Rennie, my fellow Aggie, he's going to get a lot of run off of this. Actually, I love this picture because it looks like I'm just dwarfing his ass, and we're really about the same height. So I must have been like on a curb.
Were you standing on something? Yeah.
Yeah, I must have been like on a curb for like trying to, just as vice president, I wanted to look presidential, I guess, is if you read the article. If you look at the cars in the background,
it looks like the 70s.
From the 60s. That's my coach's old truck. He used to have one of those, is that a car truck right there? Is that one of those things?
Yeah, those car trucks,
Coach Stewart used to drive one of those. Anyway, there you go.
That's
Z Cavarici's. Dalton, you can take it down now. I don't want people to read up too much about me.
Anything about...
we're talking about Wydermyer here.
Yeah.
Now, we're not talking about the 170-pound 5-flat tight end that was happy when he
You looked like you could play.
I think one of the coaches felt bad for me one day and hit me with a 4.9 something. That was the peak of my athletic. Anyway,
what can we add?
Wydermyer.
Yeah.
Not a 170-pound 5-flat tight end, more like a
260?
Closer to 270, probably 260, and running in the, I would imagine, the 4.7 range for a big man. And doesn't really matter. I'm not putting that much of a stopwatch on him and worrying about it. We were talking, he's such a red zone weapon. That wingspan, he just understands getting his hands extended away from the body to catch the football, coming back to the ball when he has to. He might look covered, and then when that ball's in the air, just the DBs can't get around him to get to the football. Again, I said earlier, I think he's one of the best red zone weapons in college football, the experience. He understands this offense unbelievably well. He was so clutch last year in key moments of big games. You think in that Florida game when A&M was trying to come back, some huge catches, a sensational catch over the middle of the field. You think about him in that Auburn game, when A&M got off to such a strong start. He was such a weapon there. Arkansas, as A&M pulled away, he was a big part of that stretch when they pulled away and put that game out of reach relatively early. So Jalen, I think the kind of final frontier for him as an Aggie, outside of all the team stuff, which are championships, and the way he can help them do that, is to be a more consistent weapon. I mean, he's a consistent weapon, but there were games where I could think back to LSU, I think to the bowl game against North Carolina. I wouldn't say that against Alabama. Right. He was 8 for 92 and had one overturn that he damn near caught that would have put him over 100 yards and had a monster game there. But Vandy, North Carolina, I mentioned LSU. That's 3 games right there where you kind of go, he was pretty quiet. So if he can improve as a blocker, which there's no reason to think he shouldn't in year 3, you get that whole grown man status. There'll be games he's going up against 18, 19-year-olds. And then just be a little more when those off days are 4 catches for 40 yards, that's when you've really arrived. And I think he's there. I think that's what we'll see from him this year.
All right, so we have that on the show. Also, Fiutak College Football Alliance. He breaks it down. He's from College Football News. And our buddy, SEC Network's Peter Burns. All that and more on your TexAgs Rewind. Is there a player that you were initially wrong about?
Oh, yeah. There's the ones that really stand out in my mind from I thought he was better than he was is Derek Tucker. He had a game against Florida, and or maybe his Ole Miss, maybe both. And I remember writing, here's your next great star safety. And I was just blown away at how good this guy was as a freshman. And then it started against Clemson. He the one pass I think that Trevor Lawrence threw in that game, he was coming over to help in double coverage and just completely whiffed. And then later on a short pass on 3rd and long, all you have to do is make a tackle and they're kicking a field goal. You win the game probably. And it looked like he was just diving into the ground. And I said, all of a sudden, like, who is this guy? It's not even the same guy. And, of course, he didn't even finish here. So Derek Tucker is the guy that I really thought was going to be good. That wasn't. And then the guy that I was not, that I grossly underrated was Patrick Fitzgerald, the quarterback at Mississippi State. That I'm like, they lost Dak Prescott. Like, oh, they got some guy named Patrick Fitzgerald.
Yeah, his name was actually even Nick.
Nick Fitzgerald. See, Patrick Fitzgerald, somebody else. Isn't that the coach at Northwestern? Correct. See, that's how bad I was. Even all this time, I'm still not even getting it. Thank you, Dalton. Nick Fitzgerald. And then he comes in and he is just a, can I say bastard on the air?
I don't know.
He is just a bad man especially against A&M.
Yeah.
So Nick Fitzgerald and Pat Fitzgerald. Underrated Pat Fitzgerald too.
Let me give you a couple on my end. And Tori, we're coming to you, I promise. Speedy Noel. I expected greatness from Speedy. And I'm going to tell you Kyler Murray in multiple ways. I thought he would be great for Texas A&M. And then I thought he'd be terrible for Oklahoma. I didn't think he would be and in the NFL, I didn't think he'd have the success that we've seen him have initially. So I've been wrong on Kyler all along.
I never doubted Kyler.
Never.
I think A&M just
messed that one up.
They blew it as bad.
It is time for our 21 and 21 presented by Factory Builder Stores. Number 5, Jalen Wydermyer. In our closing few moments, Billy, just how can a guy be one of the top 2-3 tight ends in all of college football and still be underrated by many?
I mean, I think the SEC knows about the guy, and teams. Look, there he is making, just an absolutely absurd catch. I think you can see me in that picture there. That's against Bama, his freshman year. We hit the ground running. But look, Jalen, if he can get a little better as a blocker, he is such a matchup nightmare. He's not the most physical guy for a guy his size. But it doesn't matter even when he's not getting separation because he's so hard to cover and keep from catching the football. He does such a great job of getting his arms out in front of him and keep turning up the field and getting that big body moving. And it's such a great chain mover. There he is right there. I mean, that's good coverage. Now some of these throws, I think people don't appreciate Kellen Mond and the timing of hitting these guys coming out of their breaks, and he did such a great job of that with Jalen. But Wydermyer he's the best tight end in the SEC. I think he's prototypical NFL, which is exactly how Jimbo likes it. You see him there. I talked to a scout this week that felt like there wasn't a better red zone receiving threat in college football this year than number 85. And they think that's where in the NFL too. He reminds me at times of like a Robert Gates.
Yeah, him too.
Not Secretary of Defense, former A&M President Robert Gates, but he reminds me of Antonio Gates, even though his basketball background was only in high school and not in college.
Right.
The size, the way he catches the football. Tim Brewster actually made that comparison to me a long time ago, back when the Aggies had signed Wydermyer, and it's kind of stuck with me. And I certainly see that. You look at him this year, he's closing in on 1,000 yards in 2 years. I think he's poised for a big season and to be one of the first couple of tight ends drafted.
It is 21 and 21 presented by Factory Builder Stores. They have 7 showrooms across 6 cities across Texas, Austin, College Station, Corpus Christi, Dallas. Houston's got a couple of them, and San Antonio. They're very knowledgeable, helpful, and personable.
I don't think we're going to be talking about saying, okay, we're going to have a massive 40-team super conference that's going to just become a one big thing at this point. That's pushing it a little bit too far. Really, all this seems to do are 2 things. One of them is really easy. One of them is really complicated. The easy part about this is it seems like they're saying, let's just kind of slow the roll a little bit when it comes to the college football playoff expansion. Because before it seemed like a done deal, this was going to fly through. Everyone was kind of on board with this whole 12-team idea. But now that the SEC is going to expand with Texas and Oklahoma, almost 99.9% sure this is going to be finalized, the last thing the Big Ten, ACC, and definitely the Pac-12 want is for a college football playoff with 6 SEC teams. Now, look at the preseason rankings and take that even further. If you count Oklahoma in that, if you count Texas A&M in that, if you count Georgia, and even pushing it further to Texas and LSU and Florida, there's going to be a lot of SEC teams in the college football playoff, and these other conferences aren't going to want that. So they're going to want to push against that in some way. The other thing that they're going to want to be against in a little bit way, shape, or form are the media deals that are coming in. And that's the more complex part about this because the SEC obviously is going to want to expand and are promising all these millions and gajillions of dollars to Texas and Oklahoma. They're going to want to come up with a plan too that kind of combats ESPN and all that, or works with them in some sort of way.
What team do you think is going to be better than either the national or even the people within the SEC network even expect this season?
Well, I mean, let's start with 2 of them. One, I think Kentucky, right? I think Kentucky right off the bat. I think Will Levis, I mean, yeah, everybody sees the banana, him eating the banana video and him going viral and that stuff. The thing is, the guy's got a live arm, right? And they got Liam Combs, the brand new offensive coordinator, who wants to throw the ball a bunch more. So it's not going to be air raid, but they at least have an offense and a quarterback that has some playmakers around him, with Chris Rodriguez being able to run the ball and Wan'Dale Robinson, the kid that was awesome at Nebraska before he transferred. So, I don't think people give enough love right now to what Kentucky can do, because I think, frankly, Kentucky could be, and frankly, I think they are the second best team in the SEC East. I think they're going to be better than Florida. I think Emory Jones can be fun to watch, but I think that when it comes down to it, top to bottom, Mark Stoops has built a better team than what Dan Mullen has, at least for this year. And this will sound stupid and homer, but that's who I am. I'm not necessarily very smart in that aspect. But coming on with you guys, I can't believe we're in a season that A&M is ranked preseason number 6 and are getting zero talk about for the college football playoff and a national title. Like, it's shocking to me. Like, it feels like any year we're talking about a top 10 Aggie team, you're like, all right, can this be the year? And I don't know if that's because of the snake-bitten starts they used to have, but again, going back to it, I think the last 2 years was a race to 50 points every single game. I think this year takes a step back, and I think that fits exactly what Jimbo has built this team for coming in 2021.
All right, I got to come up with it. You're leaving. That's it. Yeah. We're just going to close out without Billy. Just smash the like button. He's done with us.
Like button.
You can go. It's fine. I see. You've moved on.
Celery green.
Yep, celery green. He doesn't care.
Z Cavaricis and cars that look like trucks.
Yep, cars that look like trucks. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you.